Assalamu alaikum, dear friends. This is Dr. Olsi Jazexhi speaking from Albania. Today is July 17, 2022. I'm in Tirana in Albania with my old friend and colleague Mr. Gjergji Thanasi. In the past days here in Albania we have some interesting developments. For many of you who might know, since 2016 Albania is hosting on its soil an ex-terrorist organization, the Mojahedin al-Halq. This organization, which was part of the army of Saddam Hussein and fought against the people of Iran during the Iran-Iraq war, after the collapse of the regime of Saddam Hussein, was relocated in Albania. From Albania, this organization has built a paramilitary base in the town of Manza, and from there it carries hostile activities against Iran. Nevertheless, since the coming of this organization in our country, a great number of foreign fighters, ex-terrorist fighters, Mojaheden, they have defected from the organization. Many want to live in peace and they do not want to fight anymore against their home country, which is Iran. This thing is making very nervous the leadership of this organization, headed by the leader of their cult, Maryam Rajavi. And Maryam Rajavi and her Mujahedin commanders, they are doing all they can to fight against the defectors. For people who are experts in the field of terrorism, of cults and violent organizations, you probably are aware of what DAESH or Jahbat al Nusra did with the defectors of jihad in Syria. Many were jailed, others were killed, and so forth. In the case of Albania, the Mojahedin command cannot kill the defectors, but what they are doing is they are putting a lot of pressure on Albanian authorities and trying to turn Albanian authorities into collaborators with the Mojahedin command on persecuting the defectors. In the past 3 days, the anti-terrorist police of Albania has raided the office of an NGO that the defectors have created here in Albania, called Asila. They have the anti-terrorist police have searched their houses, their homes, but no arrests were made, since no illegal activity was detected by the Special Prosecutor Office of Albania. However, the Rajavi cult is continuing its fight against Mujahedin defectors. The cult is accusing the defectors of being spies, of being people who collaborate with the Iranian army and the secret service in order to fight the Mujahedin cult. Here with us is Mr. Gjergji Thanasi, a university lecturer and a journalist and a friend of mine, somebody who has a long experience on dealing with violent and terrorist organizations from DAESH and other organizations, who in the past few years he have been following the activity of MEC. MEC, with the complicity of Albanian authorities, is making the life horrible for the defectors. They are pushing local Albanian medias with the collaboration probably of certain segments of Albanian state to have the defectors be blamed in the media as spies and, if possible, to be arrested and imprisoned as Iranian agents. MEC is claiming, and this is a fake news with Mr. Thanasi investigated and proved since March 2018, but MEC claims that in 2018 Iran was planning to carry a terrorist attack against the Mojahedin command. Mr. Thanasi in the time found official Albanian documents proving that the people whom MEC asked Albanian authorities to detain, they were innocent and journalists. But MEC continues with the spread of the fake news. Based on this fake news, at the end of 2018, we had the Iranian ambassador who was expelled from Albania. Of course, for people who have read my article about Israel, which from pariah became the God's chosen people in the Balkans, in my article I showed that in the expulsion of the Iranian ambassador in the time was involved even Benjamin Netanyahu himself and the Israeli government. MEC is continuing its fierce campaign against the defectors, and they want to create a fake story in order to put pressure against, I believe, the Biden administration, which is trying to make a nuclear deal with Iran. And they are trying to create a chaos regarding the issue of the defectors, and to have some of the defectors jailed on fake charges. For more on this, we will discuss with Gjergji and to understand what is going on. Gjergji, can you give us your version of the story?
Well, as you said, from spring 2018, there is a bogeyman in Albania. It is Iran. Terrorists, spies, secret services, Pasdar, Revolutionary Guard, Ministry of Intelligence of Iran, etc., etc. Too much ado about nothing. Unfortunately, Albanian police, or I better say segments of Albanian police, have acted as incipient quislings at the service of a stateless person, Maryam Rajavi, who is the leader of Rajavi cult, or known also by the name MEK, Mojahedins of the Iranian people, etc., etc. It is shameful that our police officers, our secret police officers, are at the service of this woman. Everywhere they are trying to create Iranian terrorists, Iranian firings, etc. No proof at all. In 2018, I investigated allegations of two Iranians preparing a car bomb or a truck bomb to attack the paramilitary camp or barracks or whatever you call Ashraf 3 at Manas, a small town between Durrës and Tirana, capital city and the main port of Albania. They were two journalists invited by the head of one of the official religions of Albania, Bektashi. They had regular visa from Albanian General Consulate of Istanbul, and it was free of charge visa. So they had entered regularly. Our police accompanied them to police stations. They found absolutely nothing, drugs, weapons, explosives, absolutely nothing. And they accompanied the two Iranians to Rinas airport, and they left to Istanbul and then to Tehran. So, we have two terrorists got apprehended by Albanian police who are accompanied to the airport. Either Albanian police is protecting terrorists, or these are not terrorists. Imagine American police, German police, Japanese police, Canadian police apprehending two terrorists and accompanying them to the airport to go home. And these were common journalists, not diplomats. So no cover from Vienna Convention of April 1961. No immunity at all. Then the then Director General of Albanian State Police had a kind of press conference, and he read, without making almost no mistakes, a pre-written statement about a plot of Iranian spies and terrorists in Albania. There were no terrorists killed, wounded, or arrested. There was not a weapon seized, not a round of ammunition seized, not 1 gram of explosives seized, no money seized, no real estate seized, no vehicle seized, no telephone, mobile phone seized, nothing, absolutely nothing. only several names, a couple of photos. I don't know how genuine these photos are. So a ring of terrorists and spies, the result zero, absolute zero. Then time and again those freaks of Ashraf 3 camp at Manas declare of terrorists, of spies. One of these terrorists and spies is this person here. But they offer no proof. Even a visit to Iran, they say, here you are, they take photos from my Facebook and they declare, here you are, the terrorist, the Iranian spy, visiting Tehran and things like this. I've taken also to court one of the commanders, leaders of Rajavi cult, a certain Behzad Safari. Now we are at the second degree court in Albania called the Court of Appeal, Durrës district, because I pretended that he had insulted me by calling me an Iranian spy in a written form. There was a story about a journalist from Norway, Eskil Engdahl, who visited Albania. I accompanied him as a local fixer, local source journalist, and they labeled both of us spies or terrorists of Iran. The same old story. And I took him to court. So, all the Albanian states, or I better say segments from almost every state body, state organism, work as quislings for Rajavi cult, and this is very insulting. They try to find terrorists, they search houses, offices, they find absolutely nothing, yet Albanian media is literally flooded by fake news about spy rings, terrorist rings of Iran. Yesterday they went beyond those poor Iranians. They said there are also Albanians working with these spies and terrorists from Iran. That's why I'm here to teach a couple of things to that ex-terrorist Rajavi. I believe everybody knows that MEC was a registered terrorist organization in the United States of America up to 2012, 10 years ago. So let us call them ex-terrorists. Yet they were hoisted with their own petard in this last case of searching of the search warrant. The Honorable Judge Miss Dede, who signed the search warrant, issued a document signing the search warrant, and among other things, I came across a very disturbing phrase. Over 300 ex-members of MEK have crossed the border illegally from Albania into EU countries members of the European Union.
So this is a police document?
No,
this is a court document.
Judge.
Yeah.
A search order duly signed and stamped by the judge. And this is terrible. We as Albania, being a NATO member country and aspiring to become one day a member of European Union, do export security to Europe. According to this document, we do not export security to Europe. We export ex-terrorists.
Ex-foreign fighters.
Ex-foreign fighters. And it is something known, it's not a secret, it is the secret of Pulcinella, that almost everybody in this camp, MEK camp, between Tirana and Durrës, have either battlefield experience, fighting against the Kurds, fighting against the Iranians, fighting against Shiite insurgents during the Saddam Hussein time in Iraq, etc., etc. Or they have military training. Imagine 300 persons with military training or battlefield experience entering the EU countries according to this judge.
Entering into France, Italy, Germany.
EU countries.
Yes.
If you want Iceland, okay. You want Iceland. You want Denmark. You want Greece. You want Spain. It doesn't matter. So I trust this judge. She is an experienced judge. She is around 50 years old. She has almost 25 years of experience as a judge. So she is somebody. She is not just a talkative woman. And I trust her. when she signed and stamped this search warrant, and when she wrote that phrase of 300 ex-MEK members entering illegally into Europe, she meant it. She meant it. I will do my best contacting friends and acquaintances among European journalists and also American journalists, even Japanese journalists, and I will inform them about this risk. This is a security risk to Europe. We Albanians, I mean Albanian government, not me or Olsi, have exported 300 ex-terrorists, 300 ex-foreign fighters to Europe. 300 persons who have either battlefield experience or military training, or both of them, to Europe. What are they doing there? Are they playing backgammon or...
They are sleeping cells. They are sleeping cells
I
for
don't
Maryam
know
Rajavi.
this. I don't know this. I don't know. It is the duty of the European police forces. It is the duty of European secret services which fight terrorism to deal with this problem. I apologize to our European allies, our European partners, to our European dream about such a grave fact that Albania is a source of export of such problematic people to European countries.
So our beloved Albania, apart from exporting drugs and trafficking prostitutes, now we are even a source of exporting terrorism. Gjergji, if I can make you
yes.
a question. in the indictment that the prosecutor had issued against the defectors, because
it was not an indictment, it was just a search
charges.
warrant. A search warrant, nothing else.
No charges?
No.
No search warrant, okay. In the justification of the search warrant,
yes,
right?
A search warrant on these grounds, but no
correct.
charges.
So, because let me explain something
Yes.
for our international viewers. Since the coming of MEK in Albania, as I think I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we have around 400 to probably 500 in total.
Not
people.
100,
For
1,000.
1,000 people? Okay. So I believe around let us say 1,000 people who have defected MEK.
Excuse me.
So it is 450, right?
It is almost 500 defectors.
500, okay.
I'm sorry.
So we have 500 people who have abandoned the jihadi camp of Maryam Rajavi in Manza, and we have a group of these defectors who are here in Albania. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, these defectors have created a society. They have established connections with their families back home in Iran, and their families send money to them because they have to survive in a way. Israel and America and Saudi Arabia doesn't, and even Albanian state doesn't care for the defectors. So, I mean, let us say if you are a Mojaheden and you came in Albania with the army of Maryam Rajavi, you have two ways to survive. One way, or you have a number of options, but the most secure one is that you obey to Maryam Rajavi, you continue to be a radicalized foreign fighters, and you obey to her command for fighting against a foreign country, and she is going to feed and host you. Now, the other option is you traffic yourself illegally, like Gjergji mentioned. We have 300 a police document which shows that a judge document which shows that 300 Mojahedins have ex-Mojahedins have illegal. No, they are Mojahedins. They still call themselves Mojahedins. Ex-terrorists, would say. Mojahedins who have trafficked themselves into Europe illegally. But now we have another group of Mojahedins who haven't been lucky and didn't break the law to traffic themselves in Europe, and these poor guys are here in Albania, in Tirana. These poor guys have created their own society, and they want to live in peace, because according to the Rajavi code, if you are a Mojahedin, you are not allowed to marry, to have sex, to have family, to contact your family, to do a business and what have you. You should live and die as a soldier, ready at any moment to die on orders of your supreme commander, Maryam Rajavi. Now, these guys who are living in freedom here in Albania, they are a big headache for Maryam Rajavi. what is the headache? Because the headache is simple. They're challenging the MEC cult.
No, they are a bad example to MEC members.
Exactly. They show to MEC soldiers who are inside the MEC camp that you can live in freedom in Albania, you can marry, you can fall in love, you can have a job, and you can live.
You can have a walk, you can swim in the sea.
You can watch TV, you can surf the internet, you can have a smartphone, which many Mojahideens are not allowed.
Not allowed, they do not know how to use a smartphone, a touch screen.
So there is a big fight between freedom and terrorism, between freedom and slave soldiers. So these people, these defectors who have gone into freedom, they are a big headache for Maryam Rajavi and the Mojahedin command, because they have denounced terrorism. They say, we don't want to fight anymore, we want to live a civilian life. Now, Maryam Rajavi, what she is doing is that she is attacking them through her many news portals that Rajavi has. She's accusing them of being spies of the Iranian regime. But in the latest search warrant that the judge issued for the anti-terror police to search into their houses, in a way, a chronology was built, a chronology written and charges written, I presume, by Maryam Rajavi and probably her first husband, the ex-terrorist Mehdi Abrishamci. A narrative was written showing that in March 2018 there was a terrorist attack against us, but we prevailed. And then Iran built a spy network with a mysterious Payman guy who was coordinating a spy network here. And finally, these guys, the defectors who are here in Albania, they are the real spies. MEC is putting a lot of pressure in Albanian media. They pay a lot of money. And the story...
This I don't know.
We know it from... I know it. I personally know from other sources. They're putting a lot of pressure on Albanian medias to portray as if here in Tirana, an Iranian spy network has been discovered, and this spy network was ready to attack the Mujahideen ex-terrorist camp. Gjergji, this is a question to you. What do you think is coming next, and why did the police go into the premises of these people, and what do you think is behind this media hysteria against the defectors?
It's not a media hysteria, it is a flooding of media with fake news generated by the Ashraf 3 camp. The problem here is that Albania has become an animal farm. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than the others. So, when MEC members, even commanders, are caught smuggling, trafficking drugs or human beings, the case is hushed up and they leave the police stations.
So let us clarify this for our viewers. We had in 2021 Albanian police arresting a number of Mojahedin commanders who were trafficking, smuggling...
In different incidents, not one.
In different cases, they were smuggling drugs and humans in Italy and in Greece, correct?
No, the Kurds and Iraqis were coming from Greece into Albania, and they were facilitating, illegally always, they were facilitating such people going to other European countries like Italy.
Right, and Albanian police arrested them, but later what happened?
Now they are free.
They are free. So
we have my Bible, God works in mysterious ways.
So we have Albanian police. They catch Mujahideen commanders of Maryam Rajavi smuggling drugs and human beings, but they never face.
Not only this.
They never face justice. And we have also money laundering, right?
Just a moment.
Right.
There was a case when a Mujahideen commander had organized a ring of burglars.
Stealing a pharmacy?
Stealing a pharmacy and private houses in the outskirts of Tirana. They were caught. The Albanians remained in jail. The Iranian went out. So all animals are equal, but the Iranian animals of Rajavi are more equal than the Albanian animals.
And we also have court cases of Mujahideens being caught laundering money, right?
No, it is something else. The Directorate Against the Laundering of Money in Albania, a state body, very serious, sued MEC for the laundering of 1.2 million euros. The public prosecutor, after studying the case, dismissed it because they were not laundering money. They were working for. They were freedom fighters, and freedom fighters do not launder money.
All right.
So another case of MEC members being more equal than the other Albanian animals.
All right. And by the way, today I just got one information from a secondary bank here in Albania. This is exclusive news, even for you, Gjergji. Maryam Rajavi had gone to a secondary bank here in Albania, had offered them to deposit her money. She has a lot of cash. And when the banker asked Rajavi the source of the money, she had claimed, I want this money from YouTube. But so from the YouTube channel of Rajavi, Rajavi has won a lot of money.
Maybe she has a porno channel, very famous, well paid.
No,
we don't know.
Maryam Rajavi can do porn as well. She is free for as long as she is in Albania, even though she is too old. And Mehdi Abrishamci.
One can never tell. One can never
Mehdi
tell.
Abrishamci.
One can never tell.
Okay, but Mehdi, sorry, I mean, we don't want to get personal with you and with Masoud Rajavi also. But even if Rajavi does porn and video porns, she has to produce a document in order to deposit her documents. Now, to deposit her money in the bank. Now, Gjergji, let us come to the correct, to the accusation that anti-terrorism police is issuing on orders of Rajavi against the defectors. Do you think that these defectors are about to kill and destroy the MEC paramilitary camp?
You see, it's not a matter of opinion here. The problem is that up to now, Albanian police has been within the limits of the law. I have no
objection.
Complaint. They have taken a warrant from the judge. Even when they searched me and two other Albanians coming from Iran, when they searched us at the customs zone in the airport, they were within the limits of the law. Of course, they made me unbutton my trousers, and I explained to them that I cannot go down further because I cannot go nude like Premier Rama on the beach with the wife of the Interior Minister, Mr. Chuchi.
Yeah.
So I had to keep my underwear on. So they went to this degree of search.
So they searched you when you came from Iran, huh?
Yes.
What were they looking for?
A lot of money. I mean, over 10,000 euros money, and I had only 300 euros with me.
Too bad, Rajavi.
And 20 Turkish lira.
Okay, and what else?
And explosives, so weapons, and gold.
So Maryam Rajavi had alarmed our secret service that in Iran you got weapons
but
and
the
money.
police and customs were very professional. They didn't violate Albanian law.
Okay, let me just stop you here for a second. For our viewers, I want you to understand the crazy situation that Rajavi cult is putting Albania. Respected journalist, OSCE award-winning journalist like Mr. Gjergji Thanasi.
Yeah, there was a competition a few years ago.
Widely known in the West as a great fixer for many international Western medias. Now he is being searched as a criminal, as a terrorist. Why? Because he was in a trip in Iran. When was it? 1 month ago?
Yeah, less than 1 month ago.
So what did you do in Iran? Who invited you?
There is an NGO called Jahbat Society. This NGO takes care of the interests of the family members, of the families of the people who are still in Rajavi camp, Rajavi
paramilitary camp.
Let us call it paramilitary. Let us call it
camp,
a closed camp, whatever.
In Manza.
In Manas, in Albania.
When you were in Iran, Rajavi cult was attacking you, and your colleagues were saying that you were invited by Iranian secret service. You are plotting to destroy the MEC cult.
In 3 weeks, they had 3 articles published using my name and other names. In English, and a couple of articles in Farsi. Of course, spies, terrorists, things like this. And I was such a spy and terrorist that I published photos of my personal Facebook during our visit. Imagine a terrorist who publishes photos of himself and his acts of terrorism. It is, what can I say?
So you were...
This is something for a madhouse, for a mental institution, not for a video like this. What can we do?
Now, we, both of us, who have studied Maryam Rajavi and her cult, we know that this woman, she has mental issues. She's hysterical.
This I don't know. I'm no shrimp, I'm no...
You are not a psychologist.
Yes, I'm not
You
a
didn't
doctor.
cross-examine her
No,
yet.
no,
Okay.
I'm not a doctor.
So maybe we have to send a psychologist to
Maybe.
Maryam, please open the camp. We're going to send a doctor for you. Anyhow, now let's come to what is going on with the defectors and accusations. And there were, I mean, in the release that the judge made during the search warrants, or the media made after that, was claimed that there are even some Albanians who are cooperating with this Iranian spy network. What can you say for that?
I am a member of ASILA, that NGO, so I might be one of those Albanian spies, who knows? That's why I'm talking to you to explain the case. The problem is not the Iranian bogeyman in Albania. The problem is those 300 ex-jihadists, ex-Mojahedin, ex-foreign fighters, trained and with battlefield experience, military trained and with battlefield experience, roaming about in European states. This is the problem. And I'm going to close this talk. I am informing my colleagues in Italy, France, England, America, Greece, Montenegro, and maybe Japan, also Japan, Norway, of course, about these 300 persons. First, I am informing foreign embassies of EU countries accredited in Tirana. This is the risk. And I'm informing them openly. I'm not spying, no. I'm going public. This is a risk to our European allies, to our European friends. It is a risk to European dream of Albania. We are begging to open the negotiations between Brussels and Tirana. And we have this thing. This is a sabotage of the Albanian dream. As an Albanian patriot, I condemn it, and I hope our Ministry of Interior Affairs, our Secret Service, Premier Rama in person, will declare publicly that Albanian state has no hand, no participation, no finger in smuggling ex-terrorists to European countries. I hope, I demand, I plead, I beseech Premier Rama to go public and to announce that Albanian state has nothing to do with these act of smuggling 300 ex-jihadists to Europe. Please, Premier Rama, do it. This woman Rajavi will create problems to Albania, will create problems to your premiership. Please do it. Thank you.
Okay, Gjergji, thank you very much, and I'd like to thank all the viewers of my channel. So we made this video in English. As you know, most of my videos are in Albanian. We made this one in English in order for the international community to understand what is happening in Albania. The Albanian government, the regime of the Soros-backed Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama, is in full service of an ex-terrorist organization, the Mojahedin al-Halq.
Not in full service. Maybe they are just conniving at it.
But
we don't know. We don't know.
For as long as the Office of Special Prosecutor, SPAC, goes and harasses Mujahideen defectors, and on the other hand, they tolerate a paramilitary organization in our...
Give to the Albanian state and Premier Rama the beneficial
of the doubt. So we presume that he's a fool and he doesn't know what his police do.
He's not informed.
He is not informed. But so what we have here, we have structures of Albanian state security, segments of Albanian security apparatus who are at the service of the Rajavi cult. These people, they are harassing the defectors. These people are claiming that the defectors are spies of Iran. these people do not want other defectors to leave the Rajavi cult. It is horrible. In the coming days, we might see even some of these defectors being detained on fake charges, and this will be, of course, a victory for Rajavi.
It won't be that easy, I believe.
Rajavi will claim that finally Albania found the spies of Iran, and this news will be, of course, used by Israel to pressure the Biden administration not to make a nuclear deal with Iran.
By the way, I call upon American diplomats here in Tirana to make a stand, because such acts create problems to the foreign policy of United States of America, to the foreign policy of President Biden. I believe American diplomats in Tirana are paid by American administration, and they have to work hard to earn their pay, to earn their salary. So please try to diffuse such attempts to create problems to the foreign policy of President Biden. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone. Assalamu alaikum, and see you in the next videos.